So this is the final exam for advanced grammar. And section A, answer each numbered question with one long sentence that includes at least 3 clauses. So I don't want separate sentences. I want one sentence with 3 clauses in it. So if you could go to Laney campus, what would you most want to do there? If I could go to Laney campus today, I would want to have a last class potluck and picture with my students because I miss seeing them in person, and it feels very weird to end without hugs and pictures. So I have one if clause, one main clause, one because clause, and the because clause has a list here. I didn't put a comma because that's a list because of these 2 things. And yeah, so that is 3 clauses. All right, so good advice. Who taught you how to study and what did they tell you? My father taught me that it was very important to learn about everything in the world so that I could have good conversation with pretty much anyone. My father taught me that it was important so that, right, I have 3 clauses. What didn't you know before this shelter-in-place order that you have now learned? Before the shelter-in-place order, I didn't know how many people didn't have computers or internet at home. Okay, so before the shelter, I didn't know how many people. Okay, that's not 3 clauses, so I need to make this first one a clause, means I need a subject and verb. Before the shelter-in-place order was enacted. Okay, then we have a subject and verb, I didn't know, and how many people. So we have 3 clauses. What are your plans for the summer? Because I don't sit still well, and because Laney has only a very few classes available, I am going to teach a Spanish class on my own to some friends and others who I have found who need an intermediate Spanish class. There we go. All right, so that's 20 points, 5 each for good answers with good clauses. Definitions. Answer with a full sentence. That means you need a subject and verb. A clause is any group of words that include a subject and verb. It's not necessarily a sentence. It can be a sentence. One clause can be a sentence. One clause can be a part of a sentence. What does simple present mean? Simple present means usually, fact, or habit. What What does a conjunction do? A conjunction joins two clauses or two words. That's 6 points to each. The next section was changing a sentence. Make only the one change that I asked for. This is a change, not a build. Write a sentence with a noun clause object in simple present. I don't know who picks up the mail. Change that to a question. Do you know who picks up the mail? I still have a noun clause object. I didn't take that off. Change the time to simple future. Do you know who will pick up the mail? This is a noun clause, so there's no step back. It's just a real noun clause. And change that back to a statement. I know who will pick up the mail. So what we did was change the time, change it to a question, change the time, and change it back to a statement, changing only that one part. Change section 2. Write a sentence with an unreal if in past time. Now, an unreal if in past time, past steps back to past perfect, right? If I were you is present. If I had $1 million is present. The past form, if it's unreal, the past form is present. This is past. So we need past perfect. If my daughter had come to visit, we would have sat outside in the backyard. Change that sentence to present. Now we're still unreal. So unreal, present steps back to past. So if you're in unreal, present steps back to past. If my daughter came to visit, we would sit outside in the backyard. And then changing that to a question, changing only the main clause. So you keep the if clause. If my daughter came to visit, would we sit outside in the backyard? So what we did was an unreal if, past steps to past perfect, present steps to past, and then changing only the main clause to a question. So this one, you're building a sentence. Add, add, add. Don't change it in any other way. So write a sentence with a noun clause object in past time. I remember what he said. Now you can have either part be in past time. You can have both parts be in past time. That's fine. Add a because clause. I remember what he said because it was important. I remember what he said because it was important. No comma next to because, right? No comma with because. With the because clause, if the because clause is first, you have a comma. But because clause is second, no comma. So if the because clause is second, there's no comma next to that because. When you switch them, the because word is first, the comma is way over here. So there's no comma next to because. I'm going to add a time clause. So copy that because we're not changing anything. I remember what he said because it's important. Add a time clause at the beginning. And the reason I said that was so that you have to put a comma. When you asked me for that when you asked me how to plant roses, I remember what he said because it was important. That's okay. All right. And an adjective clause. When you asked me how to plant roses, I remember what he said. Okay, so now my problem here is I need a noun to put an adjective clause. So I need to come back up here and make that a noun. Because the information was important. Because you don't put a adjective clause after a pronoun, only after a noun. The information was important. Because the information that he gave me was important. There we go. All right, so the information that he gave me is the adjective clause. When you asked me how to plant roses was the time clause. Because the information was important is the because clause. And what he said is a noun clause object in past time. Always go back and check your answers on each section. Check that you did what I asked. Set 2. Simple sentence with a singular noun subject and a direct object in simple present. My husband drinks tea. So that's a singular noun subject. I, he, she are not nouns. Those are pronouns. Singular noun subject, a direct object. My husband drinks what? He drinks tea in simple present. Double check that you did each of those items. I wish. I wish my husband drank tea. Now, the I wish does a step back. You have to shift the forms. Oops, don't want to do that, yellow. Shift the forms. My husband drinks tea. I wish my husband drank tea. I wish. Shifts back one. Now we're going to do an adjective clause. I wish my husband drank tea that was less expensive. He likes a very expensive tea, which is hard to find right now. And then on the but clause, I wish my husband drank tea that was less expensive, but he likes the flavor of Pekin. No, I don't know how to spell it. Of that one. I don't know how to spell it. So I wish my husband drank tea that was less expensive, but he likes the flavor of that one. Use a but, a comma with but, and use with the I wish, you do a step back. Write a sentence with an unreal if clause in past time. So past steps back to past perfect. So if you had asked me, I would have explained. The homework. Need a noun because I have an adjective clause down there. All right. But if, I can just copy that in because I'm not going to change anything. I'm just adding. If you had asked me, I would have explained the homework, but I didn't know that you needed help because if you had asked me, I would have explained the homework because I know it was difficult, but I didn't know that you needed help. And then an adjective clause. If you had asked me, I would have explained the homework that you had to turn in this week because I know it was difficult, but I didn't know that you needed help. Right, so that's my adjective clause. This one is my because clause. Difficult. This is my but clause. This is my unreal if. If you had asked me, I would have explained. Set 4. Write a quote in simple future and use quote marks. So, he said, I will help you in the garden. Change it to reported speech. He said he would help me in the garden. Add a time clause. He said he would help me in the garden after he finished his work. He said he would help me in the garden after he finished his work, so I don't know where he is now. He said he would be here, but he isn't. So it's the time clause, a conjunction, I don't know, and a noun clause, reported speech, and a quote. In the reported speech, the tense takes a step back. All right, so that's all of those. All right, now the writing, I did a color scheme when I graded that, so I put that color scheme in here. So you're going to write at least 4 sentences that include all of these things. Now the question is, what advice you've had for dealing well with the current virus situation. So I'm going to give an answer and then I'll add the other clause types that I didn't already get. Let me get this on a new page here. All right. So write your write your real answer first, concentrate on the content and meaning, and then add. So, I was told that I could go for a walk with a friend as long as we kept at least 6 feet apart. So I often, oops, I minimize you guys. I often walk with my friend on the sidewalk and me in the street. That works well, and we can spend the time together that we have missed so much. I don't know how I will continue to do this for as long as I need to. I wish this were going to be over soon, but I fear that it will not be done until we have a vaccine. That is still a long way off. Okay, so let's see, how many sentences do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's see what I have. Do I have an unreal if clause? I think I don't yet. Okay. I do have a wish. I wish it were over soon. I have reported speech. I was told I could go. I have another noun clause. I don't know how I will continue. I have a time clause until we have a vaccine. Another adverb clause. Nope, that's a time clause too. As long as, that's a time clause. So is a coordinating conjunction. And also a coordinating conjunction. Have a adjective clause, another adjective clause, another coordinating conjunction, a noun clause. Okay, so what I'm missing is an unreal if and a because. Okay. So if I could hang out with my friends without worry, that would be very nice because I miss them a lot. Okay. If I could hang out with my friends without worry, that's unreal. And because I miss them a lot is the other adverb clause. Okay. So the best way to do this is answer it with your real answer and then go back and what happened? No, cancel. So answer your real answer and then go back and make sure you have all of those clause types, and then check whether you have singular and plural, because there are a lot of issues with singular and plural, basic structural issues, and commas. Okay, so that is the final exam.